Bitcoin's clearly been pumping up to fairly expected ranges. And here's the question. How is Bitcoin going to behave on the eve of likely economically bearish Fed / United States economic data that's its high impact on the stock market? Bitcoin moves with the stock market. Likely bearish data comes out before the trading day starts tomorrow. I think it's released at 8:30. So how are the futures of S&P and NASDAQ indices? How are they going to move? And is it safe to assume that Bitcoin will move with them? We're going to dive into a couple of the options on what you could expect over, let's say, the next 24 to 36 hours. It could be a wild ride, so you need to be expecting multiple scenarios. And most importantly, what we're going to cover is when you can have probabilities or flip probabilities, knowing that there are multiple possibilities. But where's the fork in the road where one becomes more obvious than the other? So let's go get this Bitcoin. We're going to start off by addressing the Grim Reaper. I decided to be stupid with my account. Let's say, where did I start being stupid? Around here. Yep, I started being stupid around here, and I have not taken out any more doors. My account, so I had a pretty good day today. Very, very accurate entries, and you can see they're all shorts and an uptrend. And an uptrend. That is like, that's pretty hard to do. This is in an uptrend. Actually, I've had some decent sized trades. But before that, I really messed up my account. I made a higher low in my account. So when you're trading and you're trying to take $5,000, making $100,000, it's not straight up, right? Even somebody who has practiced this and knows what they're doing, I think that's a safe assumption that I know what I'm doing to a certain degree, or else you wouldn't be watching me. You're going to have higher lows. So right now, my grand total is I'm back at 18.6. But I will let you know that I think I crossed the $22,000 door. So the way I'm increasing my account, I mean, it is making higher lows. But each time so far, I've made a higher high after being stupid for a minute, or not just being stupid. So let's say this is the dollar value of my account, right? So starting off at 5K, I'm trying to get to 100,000 up here. I'm making higher lows. So, but the idea is, as the market's changing, I need to make my higher low process less. I need to have nice tight higher lows like this, and perhaps, I just need to do that. So the Grim Reaper hasn't been out for a bit. I would say the earliest he's going to come back when I'm crossing 23K is probably. I would say the earliest is Friday next week, because I don't want to start trading aggressively to get there faster, because that's how I start doing stupid shit, is taking on bigger risks as opposed to just chopping through a $500 day like this. I just chop through. But essentially playing every pullback. So that is where I'm at with my Grim Reaper. And if you want to be along the ride with alerts, and so among those trades, as I'm being stupid or out of tune with the market, I typically either don't give alerts, or when I am just being stupid and the market's doing something obvious, the only alerts that I give are the best ones. And I realized that over my time making a higher low, had I only traded the setups I gave, I would already be to door number 28,000 because all the money I wouldn't have lost. And so my alerts on Discord, the link to the Discord community are in the description section of all my videos, and Twitter. I post some pretty bomb charts there as well. Cosasverdes with the number 2. And if you just want about 15 to 30 daily updates a week, so 15 to 30 of them a week, and kind of a layup fashion, and have recordings of what we do on Discord for the Cryptillion tier. I offer that to the YouTube tier, so you can address the information I provide at your time instead of my schedule. So let's get back into Bitcoin. All right. But I really want the Grim Reaper. I haven't had a cigar in so long, because I can't have a cigar under 22K, right? So I've had a $1,000 day. I think I just did, actually. Yeah, so I just did. But I can't have a cigar, because I have to be making a higher high. Right? I can't create incentive like, let's go back to 12K and then have a $1,000 day and we're only at 13. Anyway. So I haven't had a cigar in a while, and I really want one. So I'm ambitiously trying to get that back and going. And the YouTube videos are more fun too, especially when I can showboat a little bit. All right, here we go. The question is Bitcoin going to make a leg? Here's the question. Does Bitcoin come up to this area, 22.6 or 23 on the nose, which that's where it would go. Like there's not much resistance between here and here. So is Bitcoin going to make that next leg up, or is that it? That's the question on the table. Sure, it could go halfway, but I would say that's a fourth or fifth most likely. So let's discuss, the three or four top most likely situations, and then dive into how can you tell, in the moment which one's most probable at the time. All right. As of now, in general, I need to make the observation on the 1 hour chart, and I'm telling you, 1 hour chart is badass. If you're not using it much, you're really missing out. So much is based off the 1 hour chart. Including fake outs and getting real moves and all that stuff. But the 1 hour RSI on Bitcoin, this is a highly, highly, highly probable thing I'm about to say. As Bitcoin's 1 hour RSI gets into this bullish zone, and I cover how to use this RSI in my tutorial video that's in one of my playlist on YouTube. Sorry, the word is coming up, not coming to mind. It's in one of my playlists, so you can set up a chart just like mine and use the same indicator with the zones in here on RSI. Anyway, when it comes up this high, let's say it does the price roughly just starts tumbling, but the highest high in price is typically on that move as the 1 hour RSI wants to come down. And so this is the EMA, the white line. Go like this. Boom. It's usually on this move after specifically the 1 hour RSI leaves the green zone, right? Here it's sort of, it kind of did a version of that, and I think that was a lower high on price actually. So here it technically did just go straight down, which is actually not very common. This is a statistically unlikely scenario. Let's see if that was a higher high or a lower high. It was a lower high. That is not typical, but that's a fairly good signal though. A nice lower high getting rejected by the green zone. So usually when it comes down, you'll have a higher high in price as RSI whips one more time back into here after leaving. So let's scroll back and find an example. And so the first thing is it usually needs to get deep into the green zone. So here it started tanking and it whipped up still within the green zone. So a lot of times it'll come below it and whip up. But here the whip up was still in the green zone. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm looking for right there. Here, this is a really good example. The green got really high up in the RSI got high into the green zone. It left the green zone and one more whip up. I think that should be the highest high in prices right there. Bam. I think that should be. Let's see here. It might be a strong lower high, but we'll see. Let's see. That was the highest high. See that? That was the highest high in this shape. Right there. Boom. And that's the most common way that price behaves when the 1 hour RSI gets deep into the green zone. And so this didn't get too deep into it. It just barely poked its head, and still the highest high was right here. As it was leaving, it gave one more poke up with price, and we still haven't come down yet on the RSI, or it's just now coming down. Here's another one, 1 hour RSI. It didn't go into the green zone. It got rejected. It had one more pop up. But usually this pop up, if all this gets higher into the green zone, that's a higher high in price if you get that shape that touches the green zone. Here's a really big example. This was kind of a scam pump. That's an exaggerated, but it could happen. This is what I'm talking about, but it's usually not that big. So you get into the green zone, you leave it, and you do one more quick scam pump, or I call it the last breath of air. But this is a huge one. Let's see what it did. That's pretty algo. That's pretty nasty. Well, it looks kind of normal on price though. The price doesn't look that weird. I would have expected it to look a little weirder than that, but that actually looks pretty smooth. But instead of turning down, so it turned down after that move. It looked like it was going to roll over. But that's kind of what I'm looking for, is a higher high in price after the RSI leaves the green zone. Like it is way more common than not. It's well over 50% likely. And yeah, it's a strong play. So let's go ahead. Now, that's the first observation I'm making. With that, there is no resistance between here and here. So if you have that one more breath up in RSI, which makes a higher high in price, Bitcoin has no reason to stop here, so it's probably going to hit at least 22.6. Therefore, I think that hitting this box is the most probable thing as what's happening next. But we haven't gotten into the news, high economic impact news that's coming out. So there's timing element to this as well. And this could get tricky. If you have fewer than 500 trades in you might not want to play this the next, I would say 12 hours. Now, after market opens tomorrow, okay, jumping in you'll probably have a clear trend to start jumping in, but leading into that, this is going to be a tricky play. So let's dissect on why. Even though I think this is the most probable, the timing it could be weird. So let's go to IXIC. This chart right here is the NASDAQ index, right? It's closed right now, and it doesn't open until 9:30. Same with S&P 500 index, SPX. It's closed until 9:30 a.m. New York tomorrow. The futures of the NASDAQ index is open, and the futures of the S&P 500 are open, and Bitcoin does like to follow these, and these love to do fake outs of before 9:30, it races up or races down, but in this case, it will race up until right at market open and then slam down. Or the opposite, it'll slam down and then zoom up at market open, just like my day that I was mostly confused. I got this move totally wrong. That's exactly what happened. It took off exactly at 9:30 on the exact 5-minute candle. Went down the whole night, and exact at market open was a big 5-minute candle, right? And that's what in the futures of the traditional markets did the same thing, right? So if you want to look at that, that was July 5th at 0100 hours. July 5th, 0100 hours. And if you go here, July 5th, 0100 hours happens around here. See, straight down, and then right when market open goes. So in this event, what can get tricky is it has to happen soon, you would think. And what happens there is if people are kind of knowing that and that there might be a pump, is it going to happen more immediately? And how do you time it to get exactly to where you want to go exactly at market open, just like was done here? This was perfectly timed to get exactly at the bottom of the point of control, exactly at 9:30 a.m. But this was more obvious. It was just a descent, a fairly evenly paced descent the whole time. Is that going to happen? Is it going to do something weird? Like, most of the night it comes down to convince people it's down, look bearish, make a lower high, and then zoom up, at 6 a.m. when the market books are, the order books are still thin and all that. Like how is this going to work? How's it going to get there? It could be weird. It could be very weird because of the release of this high impact economic stuff, which I think it's about jobs reports, and I think it might be. Is it Core CPI? Actually, let's just look. And one of my VIPs gave me this source, and it is freaking amazing. Nope, it's mostly employment stuff, but it's high impact, it's red. So these three guys coming out at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow, high impact red. And then the next high impact day, for the United States, doesn't happen till the 13th. That's the Core CPI, yeah. So the Core CPI, that's going to be a bigger day. All right, now, with that Core CPI data that's likely going to be bad, if big money wants things to rally until then, it's possible that it doesn't turn around here. So within that case, it's possible that this is not a great short opportunity, that things are just going to warm up and things will rally till the 13th. So that would be, therefore, once we get there, let's say Bitcoin does come here, there's a big question mark on what happens next. Will it go up from here and rally until the 13th? The release of that information. I'm telling you, Bitcoin is moving with this economic data stuff. It literally is being dictated by it. I'm totally serious. It really sucks that it's true, but it is true. So there's a big question mark. It could go higher until that 13th. Could easily go higher and come up to this one. And that would only be about 25,000 bucks if it were to hit that. That next line up. And that would be that wick down. So yeah, somewhere around 25,000 bucks. If things are going to rally, and that would be the 13th exactly. So that would hit it on the 13th. So there is a big question mark there. So I don't want to come across as, this target that Cosas has is I'm going to do 100x I'm going to sell my house and do 100x at this level. Don't do that, because it could go up from there, right? It would probably have a pullback from there. You'd be able to put stops and break even a profit, most likely, but it's not a guarantee, right? So there's a big question on how the traditional market's going to play. So I'm going to cover those two cases first. There's one more case I'm going to cover. And then it really could just roll over now. The unlikely case that the 1 hour RSI plays the more unlikely case, which actually just the last time this happened, it did. It played the more statistically unlikely scenario that it did just kind of go straight down. And so the third most likely, I think, scenario, the first two are up here, but the third one is, it'll just make lower highs and like roll off of horizontal, something like that. That could easily happen. Maybe squeak out a baby higher high, like a real baby one that doesn't, that doesn't violate the idea that it stopped in the middle, but that could happen, or a lower high. This could easily happen as well. And that would mean the futures in Q1, okay, that means it likely didn't go up either. So how are we going to tell out of these three, which one to pick? Like, which one are we trying to make money off of? Right now, I don't think you can tell. I don't think you could tell. Here's when you could start telling, though. On NQ1, okay, the futures essentially, not essentially, it is the futures of NASDAQ. It's hitting tied with the second most important origin line out of the whole index, out of all its price history. Okay, so this is the Tropic of Capricorn. Essentially, it's the equator and then the tropic lines. It's hitting that. So let's zoom way into this guy. So got above it, failed it, used it as resistance, one more resistance, boom. Coming back up to it. This is among the most important straight lines out of the entire NASDAQ 500 index. Like this tied with the second most important straight line that you could ever build within the whole index. I'm telling you. And so what's it going to do? You just use this line. How is price interacting with it? So the next time it comes up here, I'm telling you, this line is going to be a good giveaway on what the hell is getting ready to happen tomorrow. And I can zoom out and show you roughly how to put the same line in. I think this is the line for all of crypto to look at, and it's not even crypto. But I think it's going to give you the best edge, or it's going to give you the best indication on when you have an edge, when you can start guessing. So I don't think you can start guessing now because we haven't seen it re-interact. Sure, right now, if you had to guess, okay, it looks like it would go down because it's below it. But I would prefer to wait to identify an edge on how these. I would even do like 3-minute candles. And again, I'll show you how to do this line here in a second. 3-minute candles, when it comes up here, like how is it interacting? And there are a few ways it can start interacting. Some of them keep you in the dark longer without an edge, and some of them give you an edge right away. So right away edge is if it comes up here, it gets, sometimes you have a perfect rejection, then failure pattern, and then lower high and down. So that's a very, very common pattern to see is comes up, you first get a rejection, then you get a failure, and failure means it goes significantly above it, but when it comes to touch it, it doesn't use it as support for multiple candles, like 2 or 3 candles or something, right? So something like this, like it went above, so here it used that support, came above, then it failed it, it just went right through. So here it did use it as support. Here it didn't, it found something else as support. But anyway, so this is like this type of action here is what a failure would look like. So that price pattern, or sometimes you do the flip flop of this. So let's see if I can just invert this biatch. Hide, remove, lock, clone, move, visual order. Can I template, visual, clone, hide? Oh, I can't flip it. Bummer. All right. Anyway, or you could get something like this, same deal, but it goes above it first. Doesn't use it as support, comes up again, perfect resistance, or a perfect rejection and then down. I'll make that a different color. That doesn't help, Tim. There. So these two things are pretty bearish. But for the meantime, though, you know, if you see it touch as a resistance here, rejection, and see a higher low and start coming up, you're still kind of in question. You know, it's still kind of a 50-50 until the whole thing plays out. So this would keep you in suspicion of edgeless until it starts coming down here. After you see that pattern. Very, very common pattern. Both of those. So it can be flip-flop. You could get a failure, then rejection, or rejection, then a failure. All right. So those would be bearish stuff that keeps you hanging for a while. Things that would be obvious right away is if it just gets, you know, rejected, and then break this low essentially right here. That would be obvious. And you'd have an edge to the downside that things will do the more improbable thing in Bitcoin and head straight down. You'll see it pretty quickly. All right. And if Bitcoin did either of the other two things, that one or that one, that could be a slightly higher high in price as well. So it could still wick up a little bit, but probably not to 22,600. This would not get up to 20,600. All right, but you'd probably have a baby higher high, something like that made. Now another obvious thing, if it just makes some higher highs, comes above, use it as support, and then breaks the local high made as it came above, that you would instantly have an edge at this moment right here, crossing that high. So let's do that again. As it comes above this line, which I'll show you how to draw here in a second, it'll make a local high. It comes down to test this, use it as support. You're starting to form a little bit of an edge, but you don't have a true edge until it then uses this as support, then breaks the local high. That's when. So not here, not here, not here, not here, but here. That's when your edge officially begins. That 22.6 to 23K is going to be hit. And it's all on this line. I'm telling you, like, this is probably one of these shapes is probably going to happen. Very likely. You know, it also could happen. It just blows right through. Like, that could happen without touching it, but I think that's kind of unlikely. And that would also be obvious. If it just blows through and goes above these local highs, well, then you obviously have an edge as well without using this as support. So if it does just blow right through without touching this as support, once it gets above these highs, it's obviously an edge to the upside as well, a very confident edge to the upside. And so those would be all the things I'm looking at. Now, let me zoom out. And again, the ticker of this is right here. You can see it behind me, NQ1 exclamation. So this is the one that trades 23 hours, 5 days a week. It closes for 1 hour, I think, at 6 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. New York time, Monday through Thursday, Thursday. It stops for 1 hour because it needs to take a nap and get a snack, apparently. So actually, I don't know the reasons behind it, but all right. And this origin line. So I think you might have to go to the 5-day chart. Yeah. So you'll have to go to the 5-day chart to see all of the price history. Wonder why these aren't quite parallel. All right. Oh, kind of like that. There we go. You would essentially just connect the highs. There are multiple ones in a row after the .com bubble burst. So it recovers and makes a series of higher highs. It's roughly that. And then you'll see it connect to higher highs here. This actually might be slightly. Yeah, the time frame is messing it up a little bit. Maybe I should go to the 2-day. Yeah, you'll need at least a daily chart on, maybe even a 5-day, if you have that available. And if you only have daily through weekly, you'd have to probably go to the weekly to match these tops. But yeah, it's after the .com bubble. After it races up, it makes some higher highs. It's right. The line skims that, and then you'll see it skim another higher high way back in 2018. That's the line we're looking at. Okay. All right, and so I'll zoom back in to current price, and that's how you make that line. And again, it's going to be obvious because current price just crossed it, right? Current price just crossed it, and I guess I moved it a little bit. Wow, it looks like, honestly, you know what? I probably just messed it up by moving it. I think I had it right, but it is possible that now it's right. It's already gone above. Son of a bitch. That would change the analysis a little bit. I didn't anticipate that because I know it was straight on my other time frames. Let me see. Technical difficulties. No, I think I had it where it was supposed to be. That's what I get for doing this. Anyway, price just went above it and failed it. And it's right at it. All right, so you can make that line for yourself, but that's what's being played with right now. Yeah, I'm surprised I just decided to move it on the 5-day chart when things got a little weird. All right, and that's the line to be looking at. What else does it go through? It goes through the wick of more recent price, June 24th. The wick high of June 24th with the wick low of, with the wick high of June 27th. So 27th and 24th, the line goes through there as well. Because it raced up to it, got above it, used it as support, came back, failed it, used it as resistance. So yeah, this is the line. The line should be here. Yeah, this looks a lot better. It was playing with that line back there as well. So the things apply. These are all the ways that it could still interact with that. Okay, I think the line might have been slightly up higher earlier, but it's roughly the same. It's the same concept. Those price paths, and that's the line to be looking at. All right, now on Bitcoin though, what does that mean? Well, I mean that means that it could either chop around here and make a slightly higher high or lower high, then fall down, or it's gonna scream right up to here. But that line is going to give you the edge on what Bitcoin's going to do, because as it comes up and makes this is going to be indistinguishable. So here, let's okay. This is why it's important. Look. If this were to happen at the moment it's here, it's indistinguishable just using Bitcoin if it's actually going to hit 22.6. At this exact moment, it's the same thing. Therefore, as this happens, you can go look at NQ1 and see how are candles dancing on that line. How are they interacting with it? And that will give you more of the crystal ball truth of what is happening in this snapshot of time. You could say, nope, this is going to be a baby higher low, baby higher high, and it's coming straight back down because NASDAQ index is doing that. Or, it's coming up. This is going all the way up to 23K because it's above that line, used it as support. So at that time, the two different price paths either roll over or go up. It will be indistinguishable. And that's why it's so important, because at that moment in time, you should have an edge at that point. You likely will have an edge. And it's possible it's still at a question mark level where it could go either way on the NASDAQ chart, but most likely it'll give you another way to have an edge at that type of moment. Does that make sense? That's why that line's so important, because the idea that Bitcoin, the price paths, in some moment they will be indistinguishable and it'll be identical, and it could go. That means it could literally go either way. It could go up or it could go down, indistinguishable of the move. Does that make sense? And that should give you an edge. So if things come down for Bitcoin, it could be pretty nasty. I don't want to speculate yet. I would start speculating on price down crashes or whatever once it re-interacts with the point of control that I have on this range. Let me show you the full, most of the range. This range goes through the 69K top. So Bitcoin's been in this range for 8-9 months or so. Just perfectly in this range. So this is the 69K top right here. And Bitcoin's been in there for 8-9 months. And so this is the point of control is the middle of it. So I'm going to zoom into that area. Now, if it does really start, it'll come down at some point, but if it comes down rather soon, especially starting tomorrow, what are my downside targets? I would say the top of the point of control, but it just depends on how long it takes to get there because it's descending. So I would just have to make a guess that 20,300, 20,400, somewhere around there after it comes up, comes back down, That's roughly where I would start trying to figure out how are the candles interacting with that line, and is it more likely that things continue tanking or not? And then we'll play the same game. Here's what to look at, and here's what to look at to tell when you have an edge. So be careful. Be careful if you have fewer than 500 trades in. Honestly, I'm fully out of my positions. If you saw that, right? I have open orders though. Actually, I don't think I'm supposed to show this. Oh, good thing I was covering up where they're at anyway. But you can see the types of coins I'm trying to short. My favorite one. And I gave a VIP alert on that already too, where I'm planning on shorting Cardano. Exact levels, where to put stops, when to move stops down. The whole shebang. Just gave an alert on that because I think it's a really potentially good setup. But if you haven't traded a lot, so I have no open positions. See this? I have nothing open. And if you're newer to trading, that's a good idea for you until tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. New York time, when a trend is likely going to be established by that point, or by about 10 a.m. And trading with a trend is going to be a lot safer, as opposed to making guesses like I am. So what I am playing on those is the bet that I'm making is that it does go up, and even if, and I'll just kind of, so I'll explain what I'm thinking. Well, again, I'm going to try to make money shorting. It's just been easier for me to short, so I'm going to keep doing it. But my play is, even if it comes, or let's say it comes up here, even if it does go up from here, right? Which means, you'd be wrecked on shorts. Not really, because this is the perfect area to have a pullback. And as it pulls back before it then blasts through, so this is high probability, right? High probability pullback. That means even if I'm wrong and it does keep going up, therefore I should have been, long here, but I'll be able to put my stops in profit or break even. And I'll be in a risk-free trade. Does that make sense? So that's why the question mark of will it go up or will it go down here, that's why the question mark doesn't bother me that much, and I'm still looking for shorts in this area as Bitcoin gets in this area, and I've made my educated guesses on where specific altcoins will be when Bitcoin does that, right? Based off structure, Cardano, it's point of control, so it's way more obvious on Cardano. But where it'll be once Bitcoin, it's extremely obvious on Cardano where it's going to be if Bitcoin were to hit this area, this $500 area. But even on Bitcoin, though, it'll likely have a pullback. So on those altcoins, I'll be able to, very likely, even if it does go up, I'll be able to put my stops in profit. And that's my game plan, to make money off that. Or at minimum, at worst case, under my plan, to be able to have risk-free trades out of which I get stopped and I make no money, but I didn't lose either, being wrong. And that's a good feeling. You can see from my closed positions here, my closed positions, the times I was wrong, like not only were my entries on like spot, so these aren't huge numbers, right? But all in one day, it's over $500, right? Just trading the wrong way. That means and so when I was wrong, when I tried to long, I got stopped out for 3 pennies. Because I had moved my stop at break even, right? That's why I'm not scared. So when I'm wrong, so I tried to short here and I was wrong. I did it at the wrong time on AVAX. I lost $1. Lost 3 pennies. So in total, $1.38 being wrong twice today. That's pretty solid. And so that's why I'm not very scared about that, because when I'm wrong, I typically do it at a time where I can be right for just a moment and sneak my stops in profit. So that's kind of my and this is that's what this it looks like on your P&L when you do plays like that, right? You'll have very, very tiny losses and some small wins. Like technically I've been wrong the whole time, right? Because the trend's been up and these are all shorts. Look at them. So technically this is all being wrong. Like, it feels good being wrong right now. Honestly, it's very profitable being wrong. So yeah, that's why I'm personally not scared of that question mark up there, and why I'm suggesting to people with fewer than 500 trades. This is probably not a good time to trade until 9:30 a.m. on Friday, July 8th. And let's open things up to questions.